And if you've had plenty of no sales, this message is for you. If you are a piece master, you loved selling pieces and you can't sell sets to save your life, I've been there, but this message is for you. If you're taking notes, the title of this message is Closing Before Asking for the Order. First question I'd like to open up with is, are you comfortable with the identity of being a sales representative? Because I know for a fact that growing up, family and friends would typically not be the biggest fans of sales people.
Welcome to Bedroom Guys. Can I help you find something?
No, thank you. I'm just looking.
You don't want this one. Let me show you one you can really sink into.
$5,000, 10-year financing. Sale ends today.
So we all hate those individuals that are pushy, that are running after you. We associate sales representatives with car salesmen that are pushy and sleazy and all of these negative connotations. And I know we've all felt it, especially early on. As a matter of fact, Cutco is best known for teaching its young adults how to do sales the correct way. In your notes, jot down, sales is just a transfer of enthusiasm from one person to another. Here's the thing, teachers, they sell knowledge. That's what they teach. They sell the idea of how to get good at math and science and English and history. They sell that to kids that don't want to be sold to. They sell that to kids that don't want to be a part of their class. But if they're a good teacher, if they're a good salesperson, those are the teachers that we absolutely value. Doctors, they sell us on a service. They sell us on getting that prescription. They sell us on getting that surgery. Lawyers, they sell a really big service. If you know anybody that has ever gone through a DUI, they pay $5,000 to $10,000 to a lawyer to sell a judge or a DA on why they should get less fines and less of a sentence. They sell, baby. They're the best salespeople out there, and that's why they make so much dang money. Engineers, architects, they sell ideas. If you want to be good at sales, you need to first love the product that you sell. So my next question is, do you love the product that you sell to your customers? How much involvement have you had using our product? Because when I first started, I didn't cook. I ate mac and cheese. I buttered my toast. That's the extent of my knife use. So, I didn't even eat fruits at the age of 18 a whole lot. So, the extent of me using the product was honestly just having Mrs. Jones cut an apple, peel this, do whatever with the knives. I watched her do more of the cooking than I did on demos. Thank you very much. Now, what really took it to the next level was actually using Cutco. I love that Paige from Eileen's team went into the office. She said, hey, let me play with the knives. I want to use the knives. And she literally in our office just cut up fruits and vegetables, had a blast because she wants to fall in love with the product. So that's a big tip, is if you want to feel good about what you're showing to clients, you got to use the product yourself. So my next question is, do you believe that Cutco is helping customers? Do you believe in your heart of hearts that you are helping customers? Because just to put it into perspective, guys, 50% of our customers that have wooden and plastic handles, it breaks down on them every 2 to 3 years, meaning every customer that has the crappy knives out there from Walmart and Target, the ones that they spend $20 to $30 on, they got to spend over and over and over again. 50% of customers that have the wooden and the plastic handle knives that are the most common ones, they end up having the most accidents. If you talk to doctors, they get the most accidents from people that have dull knives. Why is that? It's because customers that have dull knives have to push down even harder to cut their fruits, vegetables, meats, frozen patties, and whatnot, causing an accident because they're pushing down too hard, slips, cuts their hand. Now, as Cutco representatives, we should feel proud of the fact that we are helping customers. That's why in our title, we shouldn't just associate ourselves as sleazy salespeople. We are customer service, emphasis on the service, representatives. Funny, because I was thinking as I was writing this beginning portion of the message, I thought to myself, the thank you that we want our customers to give us, that thank you, text messages, that thank you phone call that you're going to get months and years after they buy the product from you, only comes when you close and make a sale. I've never had a no sale customer call me back and say, Bri, thank you so much for that demo. I've never had someone that went through a 45 to an hour long presentation thank me. But I've had hundreds of customers that bought from me say thank you so much for encouraging me to buy that knife, that set, whatever they bought from me. So the thank yous allow you to understand what good you are actually providing to your customers. To make a sale, you have to increase the value before talking about the price. So rapport, sharing goals, that has to do with value. Little did I know that in order to actually connect with someone, you have to get to know them and ask questions and talk about why you're doing this and get them involved and included in what you're doing. The video takes care of a lot of more value building, but I'm going to give you guys some added bonus tips today that are actually going to be on top of what the video does. Names and uses followed by comparison. So many of us are so eager to get to page 9. We're so eager to finally get to that page where we're like, all right, Mrs. Jones, you want to get this homemaker set and get your free gifts. But little do we know that the first 45 minutes actually dictate what happens on page 9. So much of it, more than you realize. If it's a higher value, meaning it brings more to their family, then they're going to be encouraged to want to actually spend money on it. Meaning if the value is below the price, for example, if I said this pencil or this pen, if I said, Cherie, this pen right here is the best pen on the planet, it is only $10,000. It's only 10 grand, baby. Cherie would say, oh my gosh, 10 grand? Absolutely not. Because there's absolutely no value in spending that kind of money on this pen. Now, versus what if I told you that a tank of gas, Cherie, what if I told you that if you were to spend $1,000 on a tank of gas, you'd never have to pay for gas ever again, and the gas is actually transferable from one vehicle to the next?
I would do it.
In a moment. Because there's a lot more value, because we know that the cost of gas is a lot more over a lifetime than just $1,000. So Cherie might not have the $1,000 right now, but she'll rally. She'll get everybody to chime in, get some money going, GoFundMe account, get the $1,000. Because if the value is there, they're going to find a way of saying yes to it. Also got to remember, you got to put price into perspective. So what we think is expensive is different than what our 5-year-old self thought was expensive. 10-year-old self, different perspective on money. 20-year-old self, 25-year-old self, 50-year-old self. So much happens in between there that allows us to understand money on a completely different level. So you cannot assume that customers can't afford Cutco because right now your financial savings and checking accounts are so much more different than the average homeowner, because what we spend our money on as young adults is vastly different. So when we associate ourselves and think, oh my gosh, $1,000 is a lot of money, when you convey that to your customer subconsciously, they also think that it's a lot of money. Versus when you walk in and you think to yourself, I spend $576 a year on just eating out. That's an essential set. If you could afford eating out as much as we do, Mrs. Jones could of course afford an essential set or a galley basic set, right? Especially all these things that are on here. A lot of us, we pull money out of who knows where to pay for this stuff. Tattoos, apple juice. Apple juice. How do we find money for apple juice? It's not even a necessity, y'all. But we find it. We make it happen. Jewel pods. You know, like, it's insane how much money some of us spend on these things, right? The average college student, not you guys, because you guys are angels and you guys don't do that type of stuff. Looking at what the average homeowner spends a lot of money on with no issue, it's different. Right now, if I were to say, hey, Cal, go spend $2,000 on a fridge, she would say, what? Excuse me, $2,000? I said, yep, go spend money on that. Hey, Cal, go get a new dishwasher. Hey, Cal, your TV, go get a new TV. Right now, Cal couldn't do that at the age of 21. Versus if you were to talk to Cal's mom and her TV or her fridge broke down, she'd be able to do it. Because finances between a 21-year-old versus someone that's above the age of 30 is vastly different. When homeowners are thinking about bedroom sets, they're thinking these types of prices. Dining room sets, these types of prices. Fridges, TVs, Keurigs. If a customer has a Keurig or an espresso machine, oh my gosh, she could afford Cutco. Like, if Mrs. Jones on Zoom is sipping on an espresso, she better not tell you she can't afford a Cutco. She can't tell you she can't afford a Cutco. Come on now. So you got to realize homeowners don't spend hundreds, they spend thousands on a year-to-year basis. By the way, Zoom. I cannot stress the importance of all of us as an organization transitioning to doing Zoom appointments if you're not currently. Zoom allows you to have a completely different element to the presentation. You might think I'm not comfortable on doing Zoom because I'm used to doing it over the phone. Change that mentality. That's what I gotta say. Because in order for this to be a more personal interaction, and you're able to incorporate your body language and your facial expressions into it, it is a game changer. Things that you can't do over the phone allows you to do on Zoom. Like when you're locking eyes with your Mrs. Jones, when you're locking in with Kalika right now, right? You can see what she's looking at and what she feels when you say something to her. Over the phone, Mrs. Jones could be watching a movie and you couldn't even tell. And you're wondering why Mrs. Jones didn't understand the price of Cutco. It's because she was literally taking care of her baby, making food over the phone, guys. But when you're locked in, you can see it. She can see you. It's a way different element. I cannot stress it. The way that I would transition out of the video, and this is, of course, before you read off that paragraph in your manual. I would say after the video's done, cool, a couple things I would like to highlight from the video are. So number one is the fact that we are American made. Since 1949, we have been making and selling Cutco products, all in our factory located only in New York. I love to highlight that because we're actually, by purchasing Cutco, we're stimulating the economy. And just to put it into perspective for you, Mrs. Jones, we sell over $275 million worth of Cutco annually. Put that into perspective, guys. $275 million worth of Cutco annually. That's a lot of Cutco sold. She's not the only one on Zoom buying. Every minute, we're selling Cutco. Every minute. It's insane. Next thing, number 2, that I want to highlight is what our handles are made out of. So first off, we have what is known as a universal wedge lock handle. I'll have Cal obviously write that down. It's a universal wedge lock handle, which allows our handles, or our handles to fit any size hands. Our handles are made for people that are both right-handed and left-handed. And we're also endorsed by the American Arthritis Association. So meaning people that have carpal tunnel and arthritis, we actually recommend that they use our handles because it allows them to cook without having as much pain. Talk about a service, y'all. Elderly people that have carpal tunnel and arthritis prefer to use Cutco because dull knives, they have to push down harder. It's extra pressure on their wrists. So because Cutco's so sharp, it just glides right through it, less pressure. Another thing about our handles is that it's made with thermo resin, which is similar material to bowling balls and football helmets. Bowling balls and football helmets. That's why it has that marble looking finish, similar to a bowling ball. Super strong, and it's dishwasher safe. Customers love the fact that it's dishwasher safe because who wants to hand wash knives 24/7, right? It's also dangerous. So if you have a dishwasher, stick it in there. If you don't have a dishwasher, cool. Make sure you're very, very careful. So dishwasher safe. Another thing and last thing that I want to highlight in this category is the fact that we have what is known as high carbon stainless steel. High carbon stainless steel. So we basically got the perks of carbon, which is it's super duper strong, not bendy. And we got the perks of stainless steel, which is very, very shiny, looks pretty. We combined it and put it together. So it's the hybrid best steel out there for kitchen cutlery. So it's not going to go dull on you, and it's going to have that nice shiny finish, even if you put it into the dishwasher a ton of times. And that's good because it's going to last you a lot longer than the average stainless steel product out there. So these are important key things that I like to highlight with every customer. That video, sometimes customers tune it out, right? It's a 10-minute video, customers tune it out. Sometimes they need a basic review from a trained representative to kind of emphasize the key value points that they might have missed. And then the last thing I would probably emphasize and go over once more is our forever guarantee. So the forever performance. If anything ever chips, cracks, fades, stains, we replace it for free. Next one is the forever sharpness. Whenever the customer needs to get their knife sharpened up, they could either send it back to the factory or we'll have a trained representative come out to their home to sharpen it for free. And this can happen yearly. And by the way, I always say, Mrs. Jones, when Henkel's and Wusthof or Schoen products, really high quality products, have to get sharpened up professionally, that costs the average family between $50 to $100 extra every single year just to professionally sharpen your knives. That's every single year for all the high quality products out there. With us, it's completely free. The misuse and abuse part of our forever guarantee, meaning if a customer decides to chop down a tree branch, that's probably not the best. And but it's all right because we'll still replace it.
Knife throwing games.
Yep. Hunger Games.
Tabletops and trimmers.
For sure. And then last but not least, the 15-day trial. 15-day trial. So this allows customers to try everything out for 3 weeks. 15 business days, by the way. So including the weekend, that's 3 weeks. And if they hate it, they can just send it back and get a full refund on it. So those are the key areas that I would highly, highly recommend. And by the way, if the spouse isn't on that presentation, then you hit that 15-day trial even harder. You say, by the way, Mrs. Jones, by the way, Cherie, the reason why Cutco designed this 15-day trial is because just like today, most of the time husbands or wives are off at work and we can't always have both spouses together. So Cutco allowed us to put this into our guarantee so that way you'd be able to try everything out with your husband or wife, make sure you both love it before you decide to keep it. Boom, and you nail that right there. So that way when you're closing, you can bring that back up again. Sweet, so those are a couple of the key areas to build a 10 value. I didn't even get into the names and uses, and I was really excited for that. So I guess I'll have to be on the agenda next week again to talk about names and uses.
Coming back next week. Stay tuned for names and uses.